Once we do that, we can come into here to pull up the chat and see if it's actually broadcasting.
Correct.
So when it all catches up, we should see us on here. Depends. Sometimes none, sometimes a couple, just depends on the meeting or the topic. Or if they can even hear us or see us, or if they know we're on. We usually have about 8 watching, but one is usually the mayor's computer in there. That's like our average, I'd say. Yeah, it's not. So see, it's not like right now, it doesn't look like the camera. Like we have no camera yet. This happened last week too. So it's not like it's way a long time ago. This should have already been synced up. Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We already have. Downstairs.
Looking at the casino, Mary.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, so I don't, now it says people can stream it, but I don't know what that would mean because.
I have no idea.
So we're live, but we have no camera.
We're called now. so-
Okay.
My work
This
phone
would happen
number
last
goes
meeting.
right to my cell phone because we can't.
Didn't it work in the beginning though?
turn it off, so you can't-
I don't think it did for me, I don't know, you guys might have had another meeting ahead of that. I don't remember.
Somehow I got it to restart.
Yeah.
So if there's any residents out there that are trying to watch, we are trying to figure the camera. We have our expert Tom here helping out.
We are getting an all new camera, we're getting all that, once that all comes in, but it's all in order. But I just wanted Tom to make sure it's nothing on the other end too.
I'm sure that we got track. One is just a video one here.
Yes.
I've just been going nonstop today.
You guys think we should start the meeting?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then Tom, we do have audio,
Yeah.
okay?
Audio's
And generally is recording, it's just like all the other meetings, if somebody wanted something from the other meetings, they can come in and get it taped, they're all recorded. So, let's start the meeting and, go from,
Okay.
he's gonna go down and check the connection down there. Okay, wait a minute, this is. You know, it's funny, we went from having good, video and bad audio.
Right.
Now we got good audio.
Yeah, no, but-
Well, once we get that camera, the new camera, he's getting a very good, gonna give us a nice camera.
Okay. So.
Well, who's, you,
All right.
Jennifer, you want to start the meeting then as finance chairman? Or you
All
want
right,
me
this
to? It
is-
doesn't matter either way.
We've called to order the Finance Committee meeting on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 at 5:42. Roll call, Fred Nielsen,
Here.
Mary Brenner Miller,
Here,
Raymond Wheaton,
Here.
Mayor Colograph is in attendance, and Angela Reve, also along with myself, Jennifer Allen. Brian Spitznagel is excused from this meeting. Or do I need a motion?
I would make a
Could I have a motion to excuse?
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Brian Spitznagel from the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, November 1st, 2022.
Second.
Vote on the motion, right?
Okay, vote on the motion. Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Raymond Wheaton,
Yeah.
and myself votes yes. Mr. Spitznagel is officially excused. Okay, Angela, this report 52 that you gave this.
I'm going to interrupt you, Madam Chair. Just to let people know that they don't have a thing, that we are recording it also through our thing, so they
Through
could
the
come in and
police
get a
department.
disc if they wanted to.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Angela, this report 52 is through what date?
August.
At the end of August?
Yes, yes, I was scrambling to try to get us through farther, but, so what I'll do, I know we have to have economic development, I think, at some point still, and we're not meeting next week, so if we can, have that one first, and then if we may, like, embed it in the beginning of our COW, have a second finance committee meeting, and that way we can shore up September and October.
Okay,
And this is August, and again, this is without credit cards, like, I got like 20 hours a week here, but I need 20 to put in credit cards alone, so I wanted to run it regardless. And I can tell you that for August, actually, I wanted to look, our credit card statement was actually higher than it usually is at 53,000. Let's see if I did grab it. So that would be another 53,000 in expenses that we would add on to this. If I didn't grab it, I will grab it. Because I wanted to see what was on it. Bear with me a second.
certainly.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Just an update, but it's related to this. Did have a conversation with Amy Petrus from HR Partners, and her goal is to finish up the employee benefit compensation package in November.
okay.
Hope no, end of November. So if we have to make some changes to 260, we'll have that. So that just, because that's going to be related to this too, in case there
Certainly.
is increases.
Okay, so as I suspected, normally our credit card bills are between 28 and 33,000 a month. This one was a little larger, but I remember we had to purchase the rest of our salt that we were on contract for. So there was $22,000 worth of salt on this bill. So we can kind of just tack that out to our expenses. But we can go through kind of line by line again. I don't think there was anything super notable between July and August.
Angela, before we do that, what is the total on the credit card expenses this month?
For this August month?
Yes.
53,785.96, so 53,786. So we'll add that to the expenses, and they'll obviously drop into the different departments. Really?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
When you're
So
ready.
we'll start on page 1 of revenues. Still creeping close to our budgeted amount for the taxes. Still nothing for the electric municipal, quarterly municipal distribution. So we may or may not get anything for that. So I can check into that. Again, some years we're getting a lot, some years we're getting minimal, if anything. But as you can see, our withholding is kind of right on par. We still got this is only through August, so we still have the whole, we still have like the whole last quarter plus September to go in here. So we should land right where we think. Same for individual net profit. October will be a little another realization because we got, a lot of returns in that were on extension. So we should hopefully come pretty close to that. We're closer than we have been in years past with profit. So I'm good there. I just still have to make sure I have everything where it needs to be for property tax allocations, but those numbers, we had gotten another distribution for the second half settlement of 2021, that hit in August. So that was part special assessments, part police pensions, and part general fund. So you can see those figures have gone up. So where you see the 504 and there's nothing next to it in the budget line, if you look 2 down, that's why I think I need to just realign these. And then
Is that with the other special assessments?
special assessments, I'm trying to think of what line those are in. Police purchase 2131, special assessments are on 790.
Because there's a pretty good disparity between those.
Well, yeah, so we just, like, the special assessments don't come on each particular one. They're, like, where we get our advances and everything, we don't get an advance on the assessments. So those are in there. I just want to make sure that's the right line. Okay, yeah, so they're up in that same section. And then the police pensions in the 2131 section. And we do have another rollback that came in I want to say September or October too. So that's kind of a bonus that we'll have a little bit of a rollback on the second one this year. We don't get that very often. All right, so recreation entry fees for parkers. We ended the year a little bit ahead of where we thought, so that's good. Programs and trips, we budgeted $1,500, but we have taken in a little more than that, so everybody's up and running and going out and about again, and it's always good. Transportation, probably because everything's open again, and a lot of people fortunately can hopefully get around a little bit on their own or with family, because we're not in COVID avoidance completely. That's a little bit down from last year. Now, last year we had a peak between the end of 20 and 2021 because a lot of people needed rides. Senior services, kind of right on par there. Senior lunch is also picking up.
Charges for dispatch.
Yeah, so this just came to me today as I was filling this in. So this is another Angela error, because I went with last year's numbers, but last year's numbers, they were inflated because that was the year we were settling out all the money they owed us. I'm looking at this like, gosh, how many things have we billed for? So we have billed up to date. I double checked with Shannon. We're gonna be due another payment soon here. But so that's gonna probably be about, I'll tell you right now. That might be a sway of about a couple $100,000. Yeah, I looked at this when I was doing it, like, why are we so low? And then I thought, oh, you picked a number that was too high for that contract. So bear with me, I'll give you an idea.
You might have not
Okay,
seen
so
it yet.
150, so
OPWC.
so we're gonna be about 200,000.
Right.
We're gonna be about 200,000, yeah, less than what we budgeted there. So I'll put a marker there to keep an eye on that, so I can let you know when we finalize the rest of the numbers, like how that's impacting, if anything. Police services, nothing notable there.
Well, there is a large disparity there too between the police services from last year, the budget, and what we've got.
Well, we also had done them last year, don't forget. So police services is when our cars are parked and we're sitting by, buildings.
Okay.
Or by construction, or, what have you. So, so we have, I don't think we've had as much for our house either. We've had other like smaller businesses locally that have used us in the past, and they may not be. I'd have to ask Stan that. I mean, I feel overall I've gotten less checks, in terms of use of the cars this year. So I don't think there's a rhyme or reason or way to know for sure if that, is gonna decrease. Other than obviously we know with our road being completed last year, that part was gonna go down, but if our house uses us sometimes at the warehouse and then another year they're not, yeah, and we can double check with Stan, but. Yeah, we had a lot come in for 21. So yeah, so we can probably we might want to make an adjustment there, advertising, nothing good there. Finance department charges, those, we should be on par. I still have to do internal adjustments and pay out Sagamore some JED money. So we'll get charges in for that. Banquet hall rentals, we're at about halfway. And that's for just, again, through August. So I know that I'm constantly seeing rentals come in, even though we're doing just residents. So we may, by the end of the year, get close to that.
All right, we budgeted 30,000 and
Yeah.
we're at
It was
13,350.
through August, so yeah, you got 4 more months of that, so you may come pretty close to that. All right, so let's go court costs, obviously down. So we budgeted 65 there, and we're at 25. That one, I don't know that we'll pick up, with obviously less tickets being written, and probably less people just showing up to court overall. Same thing with court fines. And then other fines and forfeitures, we're okay there. Traffic camera, we're not doing too bad, and there's more distributions that have come after this report, so we will hit the budgeted amount for that. Now, the offset and the conversation that's gonna need to be had is, we've had to pay out to Garfield, so since they took over everything, May is when the legislation was instituted, everything went retro. We pay advances of $15,000 per month to them in anticipation of what we're going to owe for them to handle all the traffic ticket stuff. And so if they would owe us back, they would just credit the account back. Now, last month, we paid them the 15 and we still owed another 16,000. So trying to take a look at, where are those costs gonna land us? They did bring us down from, I think, it was $25 per ticket to $20 per ticket
Correct.
early on. We're still getting the funds from GATSO. They're still working that out on their end. So the checks from the courts aren't coming directly to us yet. GATSO is still distributing the actual funding. But we'll have to take a look after I do September and October. That'll give us like a solid 3 months of that activity having happened to say, is it time to increase the price per charge?
Our fines, yeah.
Our fines, because we are on the low end for fines. One other thing we can do is go back to GATSO, once they're settled with everything, to negotiate a better price with them, because they're doing virtually, nothing on their end besides passing everything on to Garfield at that point. That won't be as big of a dent, but, so just some things to think about. Once we have some numbers for October, that'll be a good 3-month chunk of how did paying the courts impact our revenue.
And we had to do that. I mean, that was legislated.
Right, so the courts are not allowed to make any money on that.
By the
That-
General
Yep,
Assembly.
Yep, but yeah, believe me, I'm sure the municipal court was not fond of having to hire new people and put a system in place for online payments just for the cameras and all of that, so, yeah. It was one more thing on their plate, and they don't get to make any money on it, so that's where we're at with that. Permits, we're about halfway there on that section of permits, which these are just residential, so obviously you would think, oh, we've got the corner moving, but that wouldn't fall into this line, because this is residential permit. Now, if you go down to the industrial permits, you see that we're up substantially, because we've had activity at the corner.
Sure.
So,
Well, several activities.
a little bit.
$3,000 budget, and we're at
Little bit going on up there.
$141,000 in permits. $141,000.
Right, which obviously would net in the end with what are we paying safety?
Yeah.
What are we paying?
What are we paying?
CVE,
The
what are we-
engineers, correct. And that's what that money's for, to pay for our fees.
Yeah, and the same thing with zoning. Zoning is up on the commercial side because of that. Any other questions on that page? Anybody? Nope.
So we can move on.
Yeah. Sorry, I was making a note. Okay, so cable franchise fees. Again, not really meeting budget there, so that's another one I'll check into. They're usually quarterly, so we probably should have had a second distribution by now, but it could have come in September, to be honest. We may see it in September. Doing okay for other regular general permits. Budget for the non-operating stuff. So nothing up at the top that's really notable. Doing okay on the gasoline tax. So everybody's back on the road after COVID, and we will probably hit that budget number. We usually, on the gasoline tax, we're usually getting about 15,000 a month from the state. So, and then a little tiny portion from the county as well. So I'm pretty confident we'll be close to that budget number. Same thing with the license tax. We're not doing too bad. I don't know if we'll get to 75,000, but we're also moving along there, and that comes in monthly. Transfers we haven't done yet. Yep, nothing else on that page. Any questions before we go to page 3? All right. Police pension on the real estate taxes. I think that'll be it. I put us at 87, but we might be done now at 80. I don't think there's gonna be anything else coming in. I'll check my distribution schedule, but we had gotten our advances. We got the last half settlement from 21, so I think that might be it. And then we do have, like I said, there's this rollback, this portion of the rollback in the police pension part, but then we also have another rollback coming. I need to work on. Sewer tap fees, we don't budget for those. We do transfers. ARPA funds, they're there. And then we had gotten that little bit of extra 447 or something that was sent last year when they reallocated everybody that didn't claim it. And so what we learned in the meeting where I was not here, you learned from talking to Matt Stew that we can in fact use these funds for infrastructure. So that is where they'll go. So we had gotten a tranche of 118,840 in 2021 plus this, and we have until the end of 24 to use it all. So obviously I'm confident you'll use it on the roads. Initially, that was not necessarily an option. When they said infrastructure, they were constantly talking about broadband and or water and sewer type things. So I was super excited to realize that, okay, we found our use. And we had originally, if you remember, had mentioned maybe using it on a dump truck, but then we realized we could lease, so that freed up the money again. All right, so sale of notes, that'll be coming up here later this week. We will get our pricing, and on the 16th of the month is when we do that transfer out and a transfer and deposit back in. So intergovernmental is gonna be our reimbursements on road program stuff, which should be coming in. So Joe's been reconciling, we just completed a lot of our projects. So Joe's reconciled, and what do you got there?
That just came today, just right before we got, so you probably got that too.
Oh, yeah, so OPWC funds, anything from the county.
218, that's coming.
Yeah, Joe's been reconciling pretty much all the projects all at once. And so, I've given him canceled checks if we've paid our vendors, our construction companies. So that should have a figure in it probably in November for sure. On the Tulip Lane, I think that we came in just a couple $1,000 actually under, so the sewer district paid us ahead of the game, and so I will just cut a check back to them for that based on the reconciliation. Court fine safety vehicle, same thing with the mayor's court, that's obviously gonna be down since the court's down. Other miscellaneous non-operating is also going to be, part of our road stuff, I do believe, so. Oh, okay, so yeah, so part of some of the notes too, some of the notes. All right, we're not done. Oh, that's where we go, okay, so down below, again, I gotta move this, one of these days I'll have time to move everything. That 26,000 that's down by Veterans Memorial should actually be up in our other miscellaneous non-operating account, so I'll move that. Any questions? Yeah,
What was the $80,000 under,
general government.
other miscellaneous non-operating, where that 26,000 is?
The other 80,000 last year?
Yeah, from 2021.
That also kind of needed to be moved, so anything that's gonna fall into here, actually, I can look and see, that one might have had some things in it, that pertain to grant money coming back, but I can go pull it, I'll pull detail when we're in between. And I'll pull a ledger so we can see, because I don't remember everything in here. A lot of what goes in miscellaneous non-operating in general would be, if we're getting like a rebate, like we got some, class action money back from waste management and things like that. So it's, I'm trying to think what else got in there. It's like a little bit bigger. Yeah, let me pull the ledger and let you know, because it could be something project related as well. That just wasn't already budgeted for coming from another government. All right, page 4. We don't budget for most of what's here. And then the JED, we're at about exactly half there, but then we've got, September through December to put in. So we'll be pretty close again on the JED. One company that I suspect moved out of where they were, that we haven't had revenue for, actually even since part of 2021. I just forgot to touch base with Tom on that. So we really, we got one big player in the JED over there and a couple teeny tiny players that bring in just, small amounts of money a couple times a year. So the JED meeting will be coming up in December.
Under other fines, licenses, and permits, that's from the mayor's court also, that we have such a huge drop in from 21 to 22, 9902, 690, 000.
Oh, yeah. Like for that, actually, yes, mayor's court, yes. Exactly. Yeah, mayor's court may not even end at like half of what it normally does this year. I feel like we're gonna be like either at half or less than half of what we would be in an average good year, so to speak.
And senior snow plowing will not be seeing any
Senior snow
deposits.
plowing will not be a pass-through because we're not handling it that way this year, so, exactly, we won't be a pass-through for that. We were for long term, obviously. Any questions before we move on to expenses?
Angela,
Yes.
on the expenditures,
Yeah.
is that just the typo? It says 2021?
Oh, probably, yeah.
That's
It's never
only
updated.
because I'm easily confused.
Sorry, yeah.
Like, what?
And here we are in August, and yes, I just.
No, that's
I
okay.
left it up there. Plug and play every month. All right, so police salaries full-time, 615, so par with that. Overtime, a little bit more there because obviously, we were down a couple officers. We had some periods of time where some people were on vacation or out sick, so we did have to have, extra coverage, either from the part-timers or from some of the others. And a little portion of that always does, I put it in there so we can see it, but some of that does come back in, UH. Our money from UH covers, some of our police overtime. So we get like grant money each month, around $400 from UH, and that that kind of covers some of that, but I like to see it all in there, so I
Well,
do
that's,
plug
that's
it in.
gonna balance out though too with the full-time salary if,
Exactly, and even,
So-
right, so, and we didn't get down to police part-time yet, but, so dispatch, salary, full-time, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're doing okay there too, and then we obviously just lost one of our full-timers, but we did make Matt Bonfield full-time, for now, so that one shouldn't go over budget for sure. Dispatch OT. Now that's pretty close, right? So that one may go over slightly, because again, we had, short-staffed at
Right.
times. Police salaries, part-time, same thing, we're not, I mean, that's kind of gonna be okay for us, we're not gonna hit that, we're down 2 part-time officers from what we budgeted for, so we're okay there. Auxiliary salary, same thing, we'll be all right with the budget there. Dispatch part-time, surprisingly, even though we were kind of hanging on our part-timers and using them a lot, they're still actually on par, but we don't have a lot, so right now, we just hired someone. We've got Vicky still, and because we made Matt full-time, that really leaves the new part-timer and Vicky at part-time, so. The rest are full-time. Longevity, that kind of is what it is, so we'll be on par for that. Weapons allowance comes at the end of the year, that goes on like their last check of the year. People need to spend down their uniform allowances soon, so I will give them those. All right, and then our OPERS and everything kind of obviously just follows suit with where the salaries are. Okay, so moving on to travel and transportation section down below for them. I think we're doing okay. So far, so good for them. I just want to do some fees good. I think we do owe Seal a payment. So in that dues and fees line where there's $25,000, part of that I believe was Seal, but I'm gonna double check with Stan. I can't remember if we just had the conversation that I already paid them or that I need to pay them some money this year. Just trying to see about their training too. Fuel, they're not doing too bad actually for fuel, considering, so. A little bit over on motor vehicles, but that's, we're actually just picked up a vehicle too, but that, the repairs, like the past couple of years, it's been happening. So we'll probably have to increase the budget again on repairs, unfortunately, and those are the newer vehicles usually that are getting fixed over on the police side of things. Computers and supplies, all right, so some of that was our yearly renewals with TAC and WatchGuard, and things like that. Any questions on page 1? So page 2, fire contract, we've paid out every quarter that we owe 1 more quarter, so on par there. All right, rec salaries, obviously, we've been down the part-timer. Mary has still been getting billed up here to the admin section of things while she's down there. I mean, I could go back and retro that and see how it would be, but because we weren't changing her wage to fit into the wage ranges down there, we've just left it up here. So that's why that number is substantially lower. Seasonal salary, so we're actually a little bit over. And part of that, we did have one person helping Rob out, and I would have to see if we could quantify the hours even, because I don't think we broke it out on the payroll end of things to bill to service. So a little bit of that might be, not, obviously not $11,000, but a little bit of that might be that we were, had one person going back and forth, and they started out with service before the Parker stuff was up and running. But yeah, she did have more counselors this year and working more often. So last year Maya did a little bit of staggering with the hours, and some people didn't have a lot, and plus we use them after the fact for our events, if they're willing. So if we need to increase that, we can. I'll take a deeper dive into that. Transportation salary, all good. There, special events, you'll see an increase because we've had a couple events, obviously, so as we move forward, you'll see more spent there. Parker program, great, we budgeted 10,000, so when they, we not having instituted charging them for their field trips and everything up front, really on supplies and dry cleaning their shirts every week, or getting their shirts washed every week and things like that, we came in under budget, so that's actually good.
What is the contractual there, Angela?
That's the Lake Club contract.
Okay. That's what I thought, I just wanted to be
Yep.
sure.
And then senior services will probably go over budget a little bit, so, I won't complain that the seniors are coming out, but we'll look at that for next year and put a little more in there for that. Again, with the operating supplies, like, I do it every year, so I threw 500 in there, but really when mulch, and infield mix and things like that come back for the park, I had to put a bigger budget in there for next year, just for the park specifically, because it is nice to break it down based on it being up there versus just throwing it under a rec budget for our general buildings and land budget. So I don't know why I only gave it 500, but we'll increase it. So that's usually what falls into there. Which could net out with our buildings and land budgets in the end, but.
How does that differentiate though with the next line, land and buildings?
So land and buildings would be things that we're doing right at the actual event center at 14660 Alexander.
Okay.
Versus the park being the park.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so. All right, their motor vehicles actually not doing too bad. Their repairs. So nothing exciting in rec. Moving on to building salary, that piece that you're gonna see first is our, that's the extra stipend, so that should stay on par. Services, pretty good. Engineering salary also gonna stay on par. Because we budgeted for what is it? Oh, actually, engineering salary by the end of the year may go over a tiny bit, because if you remember, we did the budget and then Joe mentioned the increase after. So that will probably go over a tiny bit. All right, so electricity. Obviously, we all know from our own homes, the price of everything went up this year, and then NOPEC let everybody kind of loose from their agreements with them, so to speak, for a few months. So we're gonna come in pretty close on electricity. We may be a little bit over. Natural gas, early on, we had higher rates. So we should be okay. I've got someone negotiating better rates for us, so that as we go into the cold season, we don't get hit as hard. And we did coming out of it. Trash, we may actually stay on par. We've been hovering around 15,000 a month. I'm gonna grab that credit card thing back and I'll tell you. Every so often there's a month that jumps up a little bit, but overall, I think we picked a good budget number for this year, so hoping we won't go too far over that. So 16,000 for the month of August. So we're usually within the 15 to 17 range, so I think that will be okay there.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
not to interrupt, but I haven't had any complaints on the trash, which is a good thing.
You better knock on wood.
I know, you know what I mean? We really went through a lot of problems
Everybody
there.
got their stuff, either in
And
my neighborhood, nothing.
Has
they all-
anybody
have
else
not-
had any calls
No,
like we were getting?
I have
So that's a
not,
good,
and
and
I
I
have
know
not
Rob hasn't talked to me
Maybe
about it.
employees are sticking around finally,
Yeah.
so that.
Well, that's,
New drivers.
I just wanted to mention
I
it
have not
because,
had any issues myself
Right.
either, which I did several times.
because I know we were a little hesitant,
Mhm.
even with the consortium, about moving forward with the same company, but it seems like they've resolved their issues, so.
Good,
Yep.
yeah.
All right, so nothing else super exciting up there in that section. Moving down to service department salary, which is George German.
Hang on, Angela,
Yeah.
other communications, what is?
Other communications would be, if we've got like the cable bills and things like that, which first, we had Spectrum set up just even for internet for certain things, like by our pump station and some other things. And they switched over the way that they're doing stuff and like waiting for everybody to just figure it out on their own that they, so that will be a little bit less because we don't have to have them, so mainly like Spectrum, and then I don't have.
Well, here, I'm glad to see that it is a
Correct.
good deal less.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's a good
like
deal less, absolutely. And
Down
then.
75% for an expense, so.
I don't know that I have Nexo in there, but let me see. That's our. Okay, so part of that too might also be Connexo, which is who we have our phones through.
Mhm.
Or Everstream, where our internet is. So, so it may go up just a little bit based on some payments, that might have got doubled up for that, but otherwise we're okay. All right, so back to salary service department. This is one salary for the mechanic. So we should be on par with that. OT, you see the repairs done to the vehicle, so no surprise that we've got a little bit of OT there. And then we'll-
It's not just service department vehicles. George is also working.
Right,
on-
exactly. So for all the vehicles, he's working on the,
Right.
right, exactly. That's what, for the vehicles in general, as you saw, police vehicles were the ones. that
Right.
Fixed the most. But we've also done some big things to service department vehicles. So good for that. And then we'll be going back into plow season as well. So if George has to help, I don't know if he can take the time to do that. But, which of course that means that his overs and everything's gonna follow suit. Otherwise, nothing super exciting there. So land improvements and recycling, I gotta remind myself what this is. Trying to think what we did, what stuff in there. I will look for that. It's not jumping out to me. It was something specific we did this year, obviously, but I
Could this have been like a hazardous waste roundup or the tire
don't
roundup
think it was
or?
that. No, I'm thinking. Let me let you know. I don't know.
That wasn't a vehicle that we saw, you wouldn't put there, would you?
No, no.
Well, this would be, this is an expense.
It's an expense. You know, and we did clean up junk from somebody's yard, but that was offset by money we got back. So then I'm trying to think, there's something out there that we did and it's like at the tip of my brain, but I can't think of what it was. So let me circle back to that. And it could be something that was getting reimbursed as well if we bill man hours to somebody else. Like remember how we talked about having them do that cleanup
Mhm.
in that area back behind the park or whatever. So maybe, okay, so we'll see. So they're a little over on operating supplies here, but let's see if they're down on the other end of things. So buildings and land, doing good. We still, leaf dumping. So that'll be coming up, obviously, so nothing in there yet, but I'm sure we'll fill it in.
Well, we have not in the past.
I think I put this, but, right, so what was happening is it was going into, I think, buildings and land. And so I saw that we had a specific line item for it and put that in there this year.
Okay.
So as long as I remember, that's where it's going. When we start getting those invoices, we'll be okay. We've had chipping and things like that. Repair and maintenance of sanitary sewers, doing okay there, and I think that got reimbursed as well. So mayor's salary, everything should be on par with this, no surprises there, no overtime from the mayor, no overtime from council, even though you do put in overtime technically, you just don't get paid for it.
You don't have to say it with pleasure.
Right.
I'm not saying it with pleasure, believe me.
There was a little giddiness and laugh in
Believe
that.
me, no way, I get it. All right, same thing with prosecutor on the payroll, so that should be okay. And then magistrates, down obviously, because court's been down, although they're showing up each week, but sometimes we had to run some extra, so especially last year, we had camera court in Garfield more often, and we hadn't really negotiated any kind of separate rate. And as soon as I told Janice St. John, hey, we can't keep paying you the full rate for that, we gotta figure something out, she said, sure, but then they stopped doing court like every other day there, so, all right, so salary for that, training, we got nothing. All right, nothing there.
I do have a question.
Yeah,
So going back up to the service department, land and improvements dash recycling,
right.
could that have been the, not colonial, but the project, the sewer?
The head wall?
The head wall.
I don't think that was the head wall. I could be wrong though. So yeah, I'm gonna look.
Well, where would something, a project?
The head
like
wall
that-
would probably go under, either sidewalks, curbs, and that, or it would go under, sanitary sewers, or, yeah, I don't think I would just put it in land improvements. Because this would be something more for beautification rather than repair. So that, I know, that's why I'm like, I'll definitely look and see what it is in between articles, because it's making me crazy now. And I highlighted it for myself, which makes me wonder if I stuck it there and it wasn't supposed to be there, which is also possible, but.
And what's wasn't the fence at the,
Oh, maybe. The fence? Yeah, could have been the fence down at the event center.
I didn't think that was that much.
I
And
feel
it's
like it was
labeled
only,
as
I feel like it was
recycling.
only 4,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Again, it could be. I
And
just
that
don't-
was
I don't feel like we
self-installed,
spent that much when we cleaned up that yard for that person. And again, it was offset, but I just don't feel like we cleaned, like we had that much of expenses for cleaning that yard. But it could be, because if Rob also billed man hours, in addition to, you know, utilization of our trucks and that, you know, so that
Which
could be.
should have been done, but.
Yeah, so that could be, it could be pertaining to cleaning up that yard, because we were back there a couple different times. Okay, so we'll look and get an answer for that. All right, so dispute for mayor, salary, and mayor's court. Okay, anything else on that page? All right, boards and commissions, pretty status quo. Auditor of state, we're doing okay. We may come in just a hair over that 15,000. I think and UAN will be obviously under budget. I couldn't stick it in it, you know, like 1,000 a quarter, but it's actually 980 something. So we'll come in a little bit under that. I did ask the auditors, like, is there a way ahead of time for us to know that, so that if I budget, you're going to go over, but the way they're allotted their time per project, it's not conducive to trying to figure it out for a budget. So that was our best guess, and it may go over just a little bit. And they're almost done, actually. Jessica's coming back tomorrow to finish some things up with me, so. And she was waiting on me for. All right, so salary legal counsel, same thing. Shouldn't have any surprises there. Now, in the pro tech under here, going forward, you will probably see some things because we have been utilizing some outside, you know, experts for some of our tax incentive things and such. So there may be something popping up in there in the next couple months. All right, tax refunds. I think maybe I have one or two more that I gotta look at. There are other things that are, there's gonna be another 23,000 that goes in here that's from that lovely municipal net profit tax system for a client sent in an estimated payment, but then they needed it back. So I do know there's gonna be another 23,000 in here for sure. And I think I got one business return recently, in the October batch of stuff that's getting, but it's not that big of a return. So I don't think we're gonna hit 75 for the year.
The other technical services software, Angela, is
Yeah.
that pretty much set there, or are you expecting that line to be fulfilled?
So
Just based on the year
trying to think of where I
before.
put the PO for that. So like normally that's gonna be the tax software, obviously, and we pay at the end of the year for Nancy's Walton system and mine. I have to figure out how that's gonna play out with Rita, because I think we still have mints, actually. And I was thinking about it the other day when Nancy handed me her invoice, obviously because we have to process the municipal nonprofit stuff on our end. I'm thinking we're still gonna have to pay for mints each year. In addition, there's other costs that I may have put in this line, and I may have actually put it in a regular pro services line. So for this transfer of data and everything that we're doing, these 3 extractions, there's a cost with that, of, you know, like 1,500 per extraction. So there'll be more that goes into that line, probably. It'll just be the timing of when we pay the Baldwin invoice. Yeah, and if I need the same level of everything I have in there, and we're pretty basic, I don't really have involvement because we don't do any imports of W-2s or paperwork or anything, so, but yeah, I did think about that the other day. We can't really get rid of the tax software, we still need to kind of be in there doing some things, so, but I'll talk more with that. I have a read call every week, so I have one tomorrow with Matt in the afternoon, and I will ask him like, okay, once we're on your system, do we go directly into the RETA system and process those municipal net profit returns, which could be, and then in which case we get rid of it, or do we still go through and transfer it over somehow? So stay tuned there. For administrative and finance, all right. So administrative salaries, obviously, we're doing okay. The 20,000 I budgeted for part-time, I didn't get to really hire. We are gonna post the accountant position first. We've done a little discussion with some people and backtracked, and where I need the help is the daily things and the credit card entries and all of that. So we're gonna post that probably tomorrow. hopefully.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll touch base on that whole thing.
Okay, well, I'll just think, so we will use some of that
Not-
salary up
not here.
later, but that's why there's still that. And then on the other end of administrative stuff, you know, nobody really has much overtime up here for any reason or anything like that, so we're staying with the budget there. So that entails Lisa, myself, and Mary in that kind of. Doing okay with our protect services here, putting that in our line. Insurance and bonding, we will, obviously, this is gonna increase, so we pay the insurance, and actually, I'm gonna ask for 4 installments, so, as you'll hear in the discussion in the next meeting from John Love, when we see our increase for the year, with this carrier, I'm gonna be able to ask for 4 installments instead of 2. So normally we pay at the end of the year 1 installment, so you saw our beginning of the year one here, you would have seen another one tacked on, and it would actually put us over the 75, if I was doing only 2 installments going forward for the next renewal. But if we break it into 4, we may not hit that 75. And then payment to county treasurer. Oh, we had. There was something that was like a true up, and I'll double check that. She did have one earlier in the year, but we had true up something with the county. So I will give a refresher on what that was. Other questions on that page? All right, top of page 5, we haven't done transfers yet, so skipping over that. STMR fund for the general bulk of service department employees. We're doing okay, of course, the overtime is ahead, but, you know, it's been ahead of the game for a while there, so, and obviously plow season's coming. So Scott Day, actually, you know what, that's one thing we're not really doing. I gotta go back and check hours, and I'll probably make an adjustment. So Scott Day was hired in as part-time, but actually, I've been dumping him right in with the full-time wages. So there may just be an adjustment. If he is in fact working part-time hours, I will swap that out in those two sections. So it'll come out of the main salary line and go into the part-time salary line. And if yeah. All right, so sick leave. We don't budget for it, but they've been using it up this year a little bit. They're doing good on all of their operating lines so far. And then salt, obviously, when I put that credit card in, that'll go up by $22,000. And then the remainder that's in there can be used toward this year's salt. So, nothing else on that page. Any other questions before we flip over? Okay. All right, so then here we go. Police and fire pensions that we're paying out. We're doing okay on that. I don't think we're behind. I think it was July that was last process, because we do pay that like a month or two in arrears. So I think we're okay. I don't think we're looking at that. The rest of the stuff pertains to the note, so you'll see that on the revenue report. All right. Capital Pro Services, that's like CBD and safe bills. Equipment police, that's those Motorola radios, and so then, and a couple other things, those other new body cams they got. So you'll see some stuff coming out of there. And then also their car. They just finally, I said in one meeting they didn't even order their car because it's been so long that I forgot. They did order their car in January. It is just now got picked up. So there will be that charge in there for their car. I like legit thought they didn't even order it because I didn't realize it was taking that long. So we'll have some movement on the motor vehicle section for their car. And then we had put in that 175, of course, for road department for that dump, but dumps aren't going to be ready until next year. We will lease them. So really probably, I don't expect to see anything going in there. And then on the last page, the senior lawn care is kind of there. And then also our payouts for the JED, which like I said, I do have more to pay out. But otherwise, we're on track with all that. So I didn't even do a quick little, I still got to get the general fund page all updated for everybody, but let's do a quick little expenses over revenues. And then our balance, our unencumbered balance for our unencumbered fund balance, I should say, it's still hovering at like 3.8 million. Really not much change in that. So let me tell you to date. So we're not doing too terrible. Our revenues are definitely up over our expenditures. So we should be okay.
Angela, where is the fire contract?
Fire contract, we had, let's say page 3. I'll just say page 3. Page 2 or 3. We believe they missed it, so hold on.
That's what I kept waiting for. That was one of the things.
Oh, there it was, page 2 on the expense side, right up at the top, line 1,126.40, and we have one more payment to make. so we're paid up to date. Fire contract, page 2, fire contract.
Oh. Look right over it, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's why I'm like, wait, here.
Any other questions about that? Because if not, I'll go try to sneak in and look at our other answers real quick. So you have some time. Okay, let me go do a little drill down on a couple things.
Tom just went downstairs where, because what they did last time, they ran that direct. You know, we get it off of here, like you were saying, and they're not, the audio doesn't come from that camera. We got it coming from
Our microphone.
our microphones. And he went downstairs and put some kind of tester he's got on that line. And it's saying again, it's the camera. So we got the camera, we're hoping to get it next week. Okay, as soon as they get it, just, because Tom, when I talked to you guys last time, came in, I even actually have the quote here. What it came to for the camera and to redo everything is like $1,300. It's actually $1,360. So I approved that for a new camera, and he's gonna run it. They're probably gonna mount it. He's gonna mount it on underneath there and just get rid of that wire and everything. Whether he runs it up, he'll probably run it up in the ceiling and down. So Tom just came, but when they do the camera, he's hoping it comes next week. Comes next week, they can do Angela can send them a link and they can do a test for it. So we do have audio, so that's a good thing. You can hear my audio, so people can listen. And then if they wanted to see, they can request a CD. They are recording it.
Since the residents can't see us, just so you know, the lull right now, Angela is in her office trying to track down a little bit of that information for us.
Yeah. Ain't that cold? That cold, just,
Chilled.
yeah, just feels better. Did you ever take it right on the train?
I know Angela touched real brief, and I know we talked about it before, but I know it comes up every so often, like with different things that, we did receive a final determination for the event center that, we owe no taxes on it.
Right.
Yes, I remember
Yeah,
that.
we did talk
That's
about that.
wonderful.
And I know you guys got sent the letter and stuff, just so some people have asked that and stuff, and in case they're listening, they can. So that was a good thing. We're happy about that. Always, yeah.
Yeah, you took, that was great.
On the train?
Yeah.
For the hearing, I sent it to you.
Good.
I just happened to be getting out of the truck. And, Lydia was getting out to look at it.
Some of the costumes people are so creative.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the little Thomas the Train?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was
That
so cute.
He was walking across the parking lot, this little train, and he was looking at the train as he was going by. You were like pulling him because he was like, wait a minute, look at this guy's costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are so creative.
That was one of Brian's favorites, was Thomas the Train.
Oh, that was a good, is it still
That
on?
was Johnny too.
I had all
I
the
don't know.
VHS things, and then,
Oh, yeah.
and then, when he was gone, somebody, a worker, I had to have something done, and he was talking about his son loving it, I gave him all to him. I said, if he's gonna enjoy it, he could have them.
Remember the original, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, every time when Johnny was little and we would go over the bridge on Egbert,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he would say, Thomas, Mom, Thomas. So anytime, and there's a train that goes over there, you know,
I know.
quite a bit, so.
I know.
Remember George Carlin was the original conductor for Thomas. the
Really?
Train. Yeah,
Carlin was?
George Carlin was.
Wow.
That
I
was
don't
his,
remember
that,
that.
yeah, that was his voice, and he fit it so well. Yeah, he passed away while he was doing, you know, I mean, not while he was doing it, but,
Right.
you know, I mean,
Right.
he did it
Well,
up
he was-
until the
yeah.
time he, yeah.
Well, the original name was Thomas the Tank. Thomas the Tank Train, because it's British, and they took the tank out because he's not like a military tank, and it was a misnomer for us, but it was always Thomas the Tank. And I even had a birthday cake for him one year.
So you know all the trivia.
Well, yeah.
It is neat.
It was, my dad always had model trains. He had a whole town in the basement with the lights and all that, and so we're big train people in my family.
A lot of people, I think that's a neat hobby. I like seeing when you go over the bridge in the valley, you see people taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You know that the train's coming, you know, you see a bunch of people.
Oh, those things were, he had the Lionel and the HO.
What was the name
and
of
they
that
go
movie,
around
the
with
Christmas
the
movie about
flag.
the Polar Express?
Yeah.
Polar Express,
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Hanks.
Yeah,
Worth
Polar
a lot of
Express.
I thought that was a good movie too.
We got tickets for Johnny for that one year when he was little.
Yeah, we
They
did
go to
that.
Cuyahoga Valley and stuff.
That's
That was-
nice.
That was nice.
That is
I still have the board set up in the basement. You know, I mean, it's leaning up. but
Oh,
it's got
yeah,
track
the
on it.
track on it, oh, I know.
I can't believe
It's a
today's the
good plan
first
for
already.
computer.
Gosh, we'll have Thanksgiving and we'll have Christmas before you know it.
For
I
hours.
can't believe
and they
it.
would,
Johnny's
you
gonna be
know, then you
19
had
on
the little
Thursday.
pills you put in there, and you get the smoke, yeah.
Jennifer goes so quick.
I know.
Yeah,
Too quick.
we had a train that. we
Right,
never
right,
had
just
Christmas
too
tree
quick.
that My brother bought Brian,
Continuous
but the
motion.
cat always knocked it down, so.
Well,
I
that's
just
the
gave
thing,
up
when-
trying to
We
take
all
it.
know that your health is your most valuable thing in life,
Oh, yeah,
is your health, but second is time.
oh, yeah,
Probably.
fun.
If you could sell people time, what would it cost? I mean, people would be willing to pay. You know,
Yeah, I miss the times when either he would walk in the house or I would, and he'd come run into me, excited to see me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, those hugs are,
Yeah,
or when they get behind you when you go somewhere for their protection, like they're afraid when they're little,
Yeah.
you know, and it makes you feel so good. I mean, not that you are afraid, but just that
Right.
they depend so much on you to
I was telling him.
protect
the other
them.
day, I was, Brian took the bed out of his bedroom, and they have a spare room, and it's in there, but he didn't take the furniture, and I'm doing stuff in that room, and I was cleaning out one of his drawers, and all the school pictures were in there, and the baseball pictures from the car, and the soccer, and it just, you know, and I found something from the Junior Olympics, and it's like, you know.
Yep.
Got a box downstairs. You know, every team got a
Oh, yeah.
wooden back picture of the team, and, you know, I've got 16 years worth of goes down. the
I'm
box.
trying to think of where he got a trophy, because that one year, he was on the team that Mark Wentz coached, and they were undefeated. They never lost one game.
Oh, wow.
And it was the last game, it was like a Disney movie. It was tied, and it was 2 outs. And Evan Wentz was up, and we're all sitting there holding our breaths, and it was a full count. I mean, it was palpable. And ball 4, the place went crazy, and it was home. I mean, we were crying, and it was just incredible. So I felt sorry for the other team, but just a little bit. I was so glad they won. I'll never forget that.
my nephew football team. He goes to St. Michael's, but he plays football with Independence.
Okay.
They're doing now. And I believe it's sixth grade he's in. They went all year, won every single game, went to the championship. They played against Orange, who is also undefeated. It is the last, like, 18 seconds of the game, and they were ahead by 3, or they were ahead by 4, and Orange made a final touchdown.
Oh, you just
It
want
was
to
just,
die.
oh my
Yeah.
God, my heart just broke for my nephew. He was so upset. Felt so bad for those guys.
But it was such an accomplishment.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
They got all the way, I mean,
Yeah.
you'd think of the,
Completely undefeated.
it's,
And those kids hit hard. That's not touch football.
No,
That is
No, they really are.
tackle. And at one point there was, it was like, because somebody was calling the game and they would say, this, player from Orange tackled by this one from,
yeah, just like that.
with the names and
Yeah.
stuff. And they finally had to say, player from Orange tackled by the whole team. It was like every single kid was piled
Oh
on
my
this one,
God.
trying to pull them down.
it's sad, but now it's getting better. Years ago, you would think most injuries for football would be in the pros, but it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
At least in the pros, a little more in college, and then high school, and then grade school.
Yeah.
Because kids don't know, first of all, the equipment, which is getting better now, you probably know that
Yeah.
from your occupation, but the equipment years ago, wasn't, the pros always had the best, but now it's getting better, and young kids, grade school and high school football kids sustain sometimes
You
some
don't wear
lifelong injuries,
Just cardboard.
which is sad.
Little leather, yeah, the
No, they
little
were cardboard.
I don't want to stop it.
No, I was just looking to see because somebody is making comments, but
What is-
it says find love on the new dating site. So
No, we don't want,
that's not anything for us.
I
Yeah.
remember all those guys.
but
No questions there?
No, no other questions. Just Angela had made note on here for the residents saying, welcome to the committee meeting. Dispatch is also recording. And then telling them we do have audio, we were trying to get video corrected.
that's ordered. So
Shows that we still have 4 people hanging on.
we'll still get it. If we get it, well,
What happened?
Tom and Tom should get it straightened out.
That's not old. I was gonna say, because you're all the same age, if you're in the same. Mike, I mean, Washington was somewhat.
Yeah, Ray, I have to bring it up. Meeting show everybody. They're all- I was so happy about the remnants. I mean,
I know Mike said there was one time he got hit, he got his.
From the Smith and Obi ones?
Yeah.
I would think that they would be pretty
got a nice,
conscientious
nice
about.
sign on the, just,
But like,
And they said originally, didn't they, that they were interested in keeping it very similar to what,
yeah.
so that it blended well?
It looks good.
Good.
But, I mean, we might want it a little nicer, but I mean, it's not,
oh, I know, there was.
it's a very, very good, it's not gonna be one of those,
I remember those.
like around the corner.
Right.
Down the road. It's gonna be,
I saw one time, and it was up at the park, it was one of the coaches
I wanna
standing
see
at
if he
first
can give
base.
us some
and they
renderings
threw-
like
threw
that.
the ball
Just
the
send
first
it
way
electronic.
it is,
Just came in
knocked the guy
yesterday.
right down.
Mhm.
I mean, that could kill you.
they're not wasting no time, they wanna do they staked it all off and everything.
Oh, really?
I
Mhm.
saw that.
If you can see, she's. How's your father-in-law, Ray?
Pretty good.
My mother-in-law's hanging in there, I mean, it's not getting any better, how that, I'm sure you know that, that's just,
Okay, sorry.
it's okay.
Okay, so
All right, thank you, Angela.
in our veteran memorial
I
line
know, it's always like.
for
that.
operating, or for other miscellaneous that I need to move things, is recycling. So when we actually did the cleanup at that one yard, we use that, and then we get like recycling from the bin outside from, River Valley paper. And then we got a fuel reimbursement for some, from Seal. I stuck in there, and then we've got, I actually did put $25,000 in, it doesn't, none of this belongs in this account, mind you, it needs to go up in the other one, but, the $25,000 check we got from, DeGerano Road Development ahead of the project starting.
From drop, Jeff?
And then last year, as I suspected, the 80,000, the bigger piece of that $80,000, so there was recycling in there as well. A refund from CCA on municipal income taxes, but there was, a change order payment from Maple Heights. So instead of it being part of our original project, that's,
Which?
we're talking about the 4902,892.
What page?
Oh, sorry, let me get back to you. Let me backtrack. This is on the revenue side.
Right.
So you're looking at page 3. So both that 80,000 from 21. It's considered other miscellaneous non-operating, it just falls under this title of Veterans Memorial on here, so it's not even so much that it's in the wrong spot, it's just that we have this classification on the spreadsheet of Veterans Memorial stuff, so it's misleading. But that's what those items are. Mainly in there is recycling from River Valley, and anything else we would do. Last year, and then like I said, the $25,000 check from DeGeronimo, I kind of just parked there as other miscellaneous, and that can actually probably get moved over now, we can move it over to costs associated with building. Or admin expenses, and then the 80,000, the big portion of it last year, when we had a change order for the project on Dunham from Maple Heights. So it wasn't money that we anticipated getting as part of the project from intergovernmental or anything, so I dropped it into other miscellaneous, because that was their portion of a change order for something. We had that, probably the water main piece that had to be done.
Right.
So that takes care of those 2 questions. My other question, I'm such a goofball. So on the expense side, on page 4, where I was like, what did I pay the treasurer for? On the property tax bills, there are, fees associated with tax collection and things for DTAC and stuff like that. So that goes to part of the PO. So when we do a property tax distribution that's coming into us, we do it as a memo because we're getting X amount of money. We're also subtracting out our advances, but there's also some fees associated to the county, right? So sometimes we have to pay for Board of Health, we have to pay election expenses, things like that. So that's what that 23,000 was over the course of the year from all the property tax distributions we received. Those were fees that went back to the county. And then the last but not least, I was correct. I had that $10,000 in the wrong line because I had the line item apparently hidden on the spreadsheet only. So in the system, it's in the right line. That has nothing to do with recycling and land improvement. It's actually machinery and equipment. It was to North Coast Equipment, and that was for some plow repair type of things at the end of last year. So that just, our account is actually 394, not 395, where it is in the accounting system. So I just need to unhide the correct account on the spreadsheet and hide this one that we don't use when I was shoring stuff up. So that's how that ended up there. I knew it, I didn't think it was anything too crazy, but yeah. So I think that was all of the questions we had on miscellaneous stuff. If anybody thinks of anything else, I can certainly look them up when we're done with our other stuff. Any other questions? Is everybody okay, like squeezing in a secondary finance meeting in a couple weeks? Are we okay with that?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Fred, do you know how long your economic development would need to be?
Well, I was gonna have speaker, but we can,
Well, first, I guess my question is this, if I may interrupt. Because we're skipping next week, I'm under the assumption we're gonna do one more just COW, then the regular council meeting the week after that, right? Are we just pushing everything out a week? To where I'm not gonna be running us back to back with an economic development and a COW with this, and then a meeting right after for regular council, right? Were you gonna skip the COW, or were you gonna throw an extra one in there? Because you're not having meeting next week.
I thought we were gonna put a COW meeting just in front of the council
Put it in
meeting.
front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, what we could do, if
We could pick a different day. We could
if
certainly
you were
look at-
interested in it, Angela, but that would only give you a week, we could do it the 8th, or we could even do just finance on the 22nd.
We could do that.
we have,
Or any other like day if somebody's open, we can, I'm not bound to a Tuesday if we're gonna do just finance. And I don't think you guys are either, right? You have your committee meetings any night. So
Well, we have an information meeting on the 6th.
Of December. Well, I don't wanna go that far either.
Yeah.
And then another just like note, I really think what we're gonna do is like the year we had the CBA, we did the temporary budget for like 3 months out. I'm gonna say, let's do that again, and then that way we have some time while we're still seeing if someone's gonna step in or not to, to come back around and, do the rest of the budget. So that'll go at like a January through March budget, which we approved that a couple of years ago while we were waiting to finish up the CBA, so that's gonna be my suggestion.
So Fred, you've got
I love on
Tom
the
Jordan
days,
coming on the
right?
15th?
Did we see that?
No, well, it's actually, it's the 13th. The 13th is a Tuesday.
Oh, the 13th is a Sunday.
Well, you have
Of
the third-
November?
On the, it's on the, it says 13th here, so. This
Yeah,
is,
it
this
very
is just, this is just, this has to be just a
Just a typo.
typo.
Yeah, because I've got my calendar here. on it.
Okay.
So we had 8th, and then we had what was the next one?
Let me get
Um,
the calendar
The
up.
1st, the 8th, the 15th,
15th,
the
okay.
22nd.
Yeah, 15, okay. Yeah.
So was that Tom that you were going to have coming on the 15th, or somebody else that you were going to need more time?
You guys can think about it and let me know. Next week might be a little trickier, I just gotta see if I have another meeting that night.
Well, let me ask you
but
this.
I'm-
Were
let
you
me tell you.
thinking about having a meeting at 5:30, COW at 7, and then a council meeting to
Right,
follow?
that's what I thought initially.
Okay,
Which would be
Yeah.
his economic.
so it's just, in other words, just as Fred's ready.
Right. So, but if Fred needs that hour and a half, that's why I was asking.
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
could
how
totally do
long
it
he's
every
going to
day.
need, because if you think you can be ready, we
I
could
can't be
just-
ready in a week, I would say let's not go a week.
I can just, we can just show it. I'll just do,
You don't have to.
Well, if you did your 5:30, that would give you an hour and a half.
yeah, but we're not gonna need an hour and a half.
I mean, we won't go as long either, because, I mean, unless there's something drastic that we need to discuss or go over, you know what I mean?
So
I
do
think
you
we're pretty
think-
status quo on where we're at with things, I haven't seen anything out of the ordinary jump out. We never did get the HVAC bill or anything even done yet across the hall, have we? So like nothing is, knock on wood, nothing's on.
No.
Okay, so if we say 5:30 for economic development, that'll give you some time. We could do 6:15 finance,
Yeah, or even
or even
6:30.
6 or 6:30, just how soon you
Yeah,
can
'cause
get
it
here.
works a little bit weekend.
Give you a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Would that be
Yours
good?
first,
We're
that would work
talking
better for me to do
about
yours first, Fred.
We're a month ahead.
So I can not rush for more.
Yeah, I'm just going by this, that's,
Yeah.
so,
Would 45 minutes be good, Fred? for-
November's meetings.
I swapped with him, his would
yeah.
have been today.
see, we
That's
s-
right.
We swapped,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
I
you guys
swapped
did.
mine out, so,
Did we already have something else on the 15th? Is that what we're saying, or no, because we canceled out the 8th, or messing ourselves
no,
up?
we really
Okay.
didn't have anything. So we
Okay.
could-
Do you think 45 minutes is
Yeah,
enough?
15th, and yeah.
Okay, so we'll
So we'll do
say,
you first.
we'll do Fred first at
On the
5:30
15th.
on the 15th.
Okay.
And Angela, we'll plan for you
Right after,
6:15,
yeah.
6:30.
Yeah, whenever Fred grabs
So,
them. Okay.
when you get here, then we can do
And
that.
we'll just,
Okay.
yeah, we were just basically gonna touch base with everything that's going on. And we may have a little more information on Smith and Obi, and
Okay.
so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so on November 15th,
We'll just double up, I'll jump in.
we'll do
when Fred's
Economic
done.
Development Committee meeting
at 5:30.
at 5:30 instead. And then we will figure approximately 6:15, 6:30 for another Finance Committee meeting, just depending on where the Economic Development meeting ends.
I have the minutes from the last meeting to,
Yeah, you're fine,
that's gonna
you're
take
fine.
2 minutes.
And then a COW meeting in council,
And then
correct?
COW meeting at 7 and special council, or regular
Regular
council
council.
meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
got it.
all right.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions for Angela?
No.
All right, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, November 1st, 2022.
Second.
Okay, vote on the motion. Fred Nielsen,
Yes.
Mary Brenner Miller,
Yes?
Raymond Whedon,
Yes.
and myself all vote in the affirmative. So we are now adjourned at 6:53 PM. Thank you.
So we'll try that other link.
Yeah.
see, because he did a couple things, but
Okay.
it's pointing to the camera,
I
so.
guess not.
I'm gonna just start it.
Guess not.
complete.
Hang on 1 minute, 'cause I gotta do something. If anybody
You're
needs
okay.
to go to the restroom or anything.